Okay, so I'm going to just run through what I would do if I imported some photographs into Lightroom. So these are all original raw files straight out of the camera, unedited, unaltered. This is exactly what I took that day when I photographed Tilly. So I ended up with 4 photographs that I've just used now instead of using the full gallery of all of them. I'm just going to revert that back so that you guys can see what we're going to do properly. So the first thing I would do is cull and keep the images. So what I mean by that is by setting your filters to flagged, and then by selecting the checked one, which is keeping, and the middle one, which is nothing, and leaving the culled one deselected, so the what is technically the rejected flag is left. So you can't see anything that's been rejected basically. So then what I'm going to do is just run through every single image at 100% zoom. So this one's nice and sharp there. So is that one. That one's sharp. That one's blurry. So this would be 100% non-keeper for me. The reason why is because the focus point is here. Her hair's all nice and clean and sharp and lovely, but her eye's completely out of focus for me. That would be an instant cull. I could never present that to a client. It's really, really bad form to present anything that's not got the eye as the sharpest point of the image. You want the sharpest point of the image to be where your eye looks, and at the moment that's going to be her ear, which is not good. So for this one I'd press X immediately, the X key, which would set it as rejected. So this one as well, you can see her eye's not in focus but her head is. The reason why that this one was probably missed in focus is because she was moving. It looks like she was pretty settled on the floor, but she moved quite a lot. So for this one, again, instant delete on that one. So we're left with these two. Now I know that one's got a different camera profile on, so we'd go into the develop window, camera calibration. The way this one came into Lightroom is like this. That's what they look like when they first come into Lightroom, when they've got nothing done. So immediately the first thing I'm going to do is change this camera calibration from the Adobe standard profile to camera standard, which drops it back into the colours and the contrast that my camera originally took the photograph in. So I'm going to do that with both of them anyway, just to get a good look at them. And I'm just going to start with one, just stick on one, and I don't move through any of the others yet. And the first thing I'm going to do is just do my base edit. So this is exactly the same for every single photograph that I edit, whether it's from an indoor session or an outdoor session. So the first thing I'm going to do is lift the shadows to about there, and I'm going to drop the highlights down to about there. So that brings back all of the detail that looked like it was lost in a flare. It's all going to stay there. Then I'm going to lift the clarity up. So I don't lift it too high on some of these ones where you've got a short-haired dog, because it brings out too much detail everywhere else and it becomes distracting. I lift the vibrance as well, just a touch, which gives a bit more warmth to the image anyway. And I'm also going to just knock the white balance up a touch. People that know me and know my work know that I like the white balance to be slightly warmer than normal. So I just knock that up just a little bit, enough for it to make a difference. Then after that I'm going to go into the detail and knock the sharpening up to about 60. So I'll just show you what that's done there. So that was before, when it actually buffers up. And then that was afterwards. So if you see the amount of detail that it's put back in under the eyes, but it has added a little tiny bit of noise. So to combat that, just lift the luminance up to about 10, and it'll take some of that away for you. Okay, so that's looking pretty good. The next thing that I do after doing all your base edits on it is to crop it in. So personally I hate the 6x4 crop. It's not a good crop for me, I don't like it. I pop everything into either a 7x5 or a 16x9 crop. I just think it looks nicer. So I just make sure I'm at a happy medium. It would be nicer in this image to have more space at this side, but it is what it is. So I should take note of that and leave space next time, basically. The next thing I'm going to do is just add a warm gradient to the top of the image. So if you leave your exposure and lift that up to about 50, and then drag down a gradient into the image from where your light source is, which is up here, and just warm it up a little bit, and a little bit of red there. And I'm just going to bump the highlights a touch again just to give it a bit more. So that gradient has gone from this to this. So you can drag it in a bit more if you want more warmth to the image and more brightness. I quite like that as it is. And then once you're happy with that, I just click done. So I'm also going to just use the brush tool on about 50, just 50, nothing on the colours or anything else, 50 on the exposure, and just work over the eye area just a little bit, which will just add a bit more brightness. So you've gone from that to that. And for me in Lightroom, this is exactly where I would just stop and move it into Photoshop after that for any other things. But first we want to sync everything that we've got from our images. So we kept 2 from the original cull. So there's that one and that one. So what we want to do is sync the settings that we've done here onto this image as well. So the way we do that is by holding down Control or Command, whether you're PC or Mac, and clicking A, which will select everything, and then click Sync. And in Sync, you want to make sure that your crop is unselected, spot removal is unselected, and local adjustments unselected. That'll make sure that none of the specialist things that we've done on the image will be put into the exact same place on the other one, because you don't know where the subject matter is in the next one. So imagine that we've got 50 to 100 images down here. You want to put the same settings on everything and then run through them afterwards, just tweaking them instead of doing the big things on everything. Just click Synchronize on that and it'll have put the settings over onto this one. As you can see, that's all sorted. So then I'm just going to now run through and crop it to a nice place. Probably actually drop that into a 16 by 10. Let's just give it a bit more room. About there. So this one doesn't have a gradient on, as you can see, between that one and that one. So you could always put one on, but it also doesn't have the lightness in the eye. So I've just gone on brush, same setting of 50, and just run over that eye area. Job done. So I'd go into Photoshop then, and I'd remove the eye gunk here and here. I'd remove this stray hair, the dust if you need to, and then I would also remove that brown bit of grass and anything else that's distracting in the image. I think for this one, apart from that little speck there, that would be pretty much it. So for me, that's it in Lightroom, and then it goes straight into Photoshop. So as you can see, that took me, maybe 2-3 minutes, and that would be the full batch done. All you need to do is go through, crop to your desired thing, cull them all, obviously, if they're blurry or they're not keepers or there's too many similar, and then batch them all out into Photoshop to run them through there. So I hope that's been helpful. If it has, please let me know. If it was rubbish, let me know as well. And if you'd like to see anything else in Lightroom, then feel free to let us know and we'll sort something out.